Tonight, an elderly woman alleges she was poorly treated at PROPRIETARY Hospital, and police remind locals to stay vigilant with an expected increase in thefts over Christmas.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. PROPRIETARY Hospital is facing scrutiny after an elderly woman says she was nearly discharged after seriously injuring herself. A 75-year-old reportedly fell in her own home. It's alleged she was told to go home when she couldn't see or walk. And a warning, viewers may find the following images distressing.
Lorraine Brown says she's lucky to be alive. The 75-year-old fell in her garage on Monday morning, crying for help after she split her head open, where a neighbour found her and rushed her to the PROPRIETARY Hospital. 4 hours after stitching her up, it is alleged a doctor tried to discharge her from the hospital when she couldn't see or walk.
They hadn't even tried to send her up, mate. So he said to me he'd followed all protocol. He definitely hadn't followed all protocol. She's 75 years old, mate, and they were going to send her home without even standing her up.
Ty and his family says they had to engage in an argument with staff so Lorraine could stay overnight. But the next day, her usual GP reportedly said she was in no state to leave the hospital.
She has that bad of headaches at the moment because of it, which if you see the photos you would understand. You know, she's in a lot of pain. It's not safe for an old lady like that to go home, and that doctor should have known that.
A month ago, a local took to social media to complain about the mistreatment of patients at the PROPRIETARY Hospital. The post received hundreds of comments with people saying similar experiences, with several people saying they feel more safe going to the Port Augusta Hospital. The York and Northern Local Health Network has been contacted for comment, but did not respond before deadline. Christian Komenos, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
With Christmas right around the corner, SAPOL is warning residents to be prepared for a rise in opportunistic crimes that come with a holiday. Police say residents should take extra care when locking things up and keep valuable items such as presents out of the public's gaze.
It's that time of year again. Christmas cheer, carols and crime. Local police reminding communities to remain vigilant with break-ins and thefts spiking during the festive period.
So there's an increase of shopping for presents and stuff like that. So there is an increased opportunity for motor vehicle crime, such as theft from motor vehicles, and also thefts from houses, so serious criminal trespasses.
Police stressing the importance of taking valuables with you when shopping and not leaving anything in your car that could tempt criminals. Police also say to implement this at home, with many family Christmas trees currently displayed in windows and visible from the street.
Keeping your house locked up. If you've got your Christmas trees set up and presents under the trees, obviously having that away from windows and just keeping it again out of sight and locking the doors.
With the pandemic causing an increase in online present buying, SAPOL says you also have to keep track of your deliveries, with some criminals poaching them before they can even make it inside.
If you're going away for Christmas, the other things is having someone to collect your mail on a regular basis.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Meanwhile, Port Lincoln has seen an uprise in break-ins over the last few weeks. Just last month, police say an estranged teenager broke into a family's home in the early hours of the morning. Distressing messages between a daughter and her mother detailing the incident. Police are now patrolling break-in areas.
We would like to remind all the community that to ensure that their doors are locked before they go to bed of a night time, making sure that their keys are removed from cars and that their cars are actually locked.
With the festive season upon us, Port Lincoln Police is also urging people to double-check their home safety. Broken Hill's latest lead health report shows a handful of improvement in blood lead levels in children. The overall average dropping slightly from 5.4 to 4.7 micrograms per decalitre, even with an increase in screening rates. The percentage of those with levels above the 5 microgram target also decreased, but levels in Aboriginal children still remain high at 7.7 micrograms. Still to come tonight, splashes of colour line the Port Augusta foreshore, and PROPRIETARY agricultural students awarded for their efforts. Welcome back. Peter Treloar gave his valedictory speech in Parliament late last month as he is elected not to run for the seat of Flinders next year. He's only the 6th state parliament member for Flinders since World War II, but now he's looking forward to some much-needed family time.
After almost 12 years in the seat of Flinders, Peter Treloar is finally calling it a day. An eventful 2021 seeing the completion of some of Peter's highest achievements.
On the Todd Highway between Karku and Kyancutter is now complete. I drove that road just this week, so it's an absolute pleasure to drive on it.
He might not be running in next year's election, however he hasn't stopped fighting for the Eyre Peninsula just yet. With the location of a desalination plant still yet to be decided, Peter is working with locals to come up with a viable solution.
1,768 signatures from memory signed this petition, and it's recognising the need to supplement our water supply but asking SA Water to go back and reassess their preferred site.
Looking back, enjoying his involvement in bringing new schools to the area.
And right as we speak, there are significant new builds going on at Cummins Area School, at the Port Lincoln High School, and a bit further afield at the Ceduna Area School.
It might be the end of his political run, however Peter is already looking to help his local community.
And looking forward to getting involved back in my local community, watching some local footy. I'm involved now in the South Australian National Football League Community, Eyre Peninsula Community Footy Boards.
Also saying his journey wouldn't have been possible without the support around him.
To thank my family and friends, particularly my wife Annette, children who have grown up from being young teenagers to being young adults in their early 20s in the time that I've been there, and we have grandchildren coming along.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
More than 300 Port Augusta students have contributed artwork to an exciting and colourful project at the east side foreshore. The design's now lining the pavement, allowing visitors to see the work of many future artists in the town.
Brightening up Port Augusta foreshore. As part of the Joy Belush Bridge duplication, the Department for Infrastructure and Transport commissioning some pint-sized artists to design works for the area.
With the duplication of the new Port Augusta Bridge, they're making a new art walk and they just want some student artwork to decorate the pavement around the new playground.
The students' artwork trying to encapsulate themes such as local wildlife, recycling and caring for the environment.
It's so fun. We get to use paint and sometimes use crayons.
Team members from the duplication project then printing the artworks as a series of large-scale pavement stickers.
It looks pretty nice because we get to see 9 of us on one plastic thing.
Arranged like stepping stones, the stickers now installed along the foreshore.
They love going down there and seeing their artwork on the concrete. It's very bright and inviting the community to come see their kids' work.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
3 agricultural students from St Mark's College have finished the year in style after winning industry awards for their outstanding achievements. One student has already snagged an apprenticeship, with the others opening the doors to the beginning of their careers.
All their hard work starting to pay off. 3 ag students from St Mark's College presented with a gift from the Agribusiness Finance Australia for excelling in their courses. Georgia Anderson took out the top award for her outstanding achievement in ag studies and says she's looking forward to starting a career on the farm.
Yeah, probably work back on properties and go back home on the station and eventually get into livestock production.
Anthony O'Loughlin has scored himself an apprenticeship with Kelly Engineering at Bullaroo Centre and is excited to learn a range of new skills. The awards have showcased the importance of encouraging young people to get into the industry as farmers struggle with low staff numbers.
The average age of a farmer is getting up towards, mid-70s now, so we need young people in agriculture. Food and fibre, we've got to double world's food production, so if you're not on a farm, there's hundreds and hundreds of jobs.
Agribusiness Finance Australia also happy to see more young women taking on the farming roles in an industry dominated by men.
The wives or the females play such an important role, not just in finance and bookkeeping, which they can sometimes get pigeonholed into, but in the whole operation.
Christian Komenos, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The final preparations are underway for Whyala's Community Carols show this weekend. After questions if the event was going ahead, the new organisers are keen to let the show go on.
Warm up your vocal cords, Carols Night is almost here. After earlier uncertainty around the event, organisers are putting the final touches to this weekend's carols at Whyalla Civic Park.
It's a very exciting time. We missed out last year, but we wanted to make sure that we had something for the kids of the town this year.
This year's carols, run by the Whyalla Show Society and the city's Music Association. A large number of local talent keen to put their hand up to put on a festive show on Sunday.
We have got a range of people ranging from a cappella to kids choir to local bands.
To meet COVID restrictions, an attendance cap has been placed on the event in a first-come, first-served basis. Masks also required to be worn while not eating or drinking.
We're capped at 3,000. We're going to have a fenced area so we can keep control of the numbers. Everybody does need to QR code as they come through the gate.
More information can be found on the Whyalla Music Association's Facebook page. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Whyalla residents encouraged to lighten up their homes for Christmas. And COVID, deaths, music and laughter, we look back at the year that was. Hello again. Whyalla residents who are creative with Christmas lights on their homes are urged to enter in this year's lights competition. After the struggles from the COVID pandemic, it's hoped more people are willing to get on board.
It's an event to light up Christmas festivities in Whyalla. Residents with a keen eye for light displays encouraged to put in their entry in this year's Christmas lights competition.
Whyalla News has been teaming up with the Whyalla City Council and a few other sponsors who've jumped on board to sort of judge the best Christmas lights displays in the community.
Event organisers keen for residents to submit their grand displays of Christmas cheer following COVID-19 uncertainty. A prize of $500 up for grabs in several categories.
So we've got the best business, best sustainable display, best community display, People's Choice Award.
An award for the best residential Christmas lights display also in the running. The wider community can vote for the People's Choice Awards on social media after judging has been completed.
I think a lot of people are looking forward to putting on the display this year. Probably a lot tough for some people last year to put them up.
Entries close next Monday. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
This time last year, it appeared the worst of the COVID pandemic was behind us. Internal borders were open and families reunited. 2021 showed there is no outrunning COVID, but we're slowly beginning to live with the virus. Let's take a look back at the year Australia changed once again.
It took just 2 days for COVID to make its impression on 2021. Little did we know this year would be even more challenging. An infected traveller passing through Broken Hill, forcing staff at a popular cafe into isolation.
Like closing the business for 14 days, that would have been tough.
But things would only get worse. Delta arriving and spreading through Sydney. An international traveller testing positive after quarantine, bringing COVID close to home.
As we bring you the bulletin tonight, South Australia is officially in lockdown.
Businesses left counting the cost of a so-called circuit breaker.
It's what we have to do, so we want to make sure this is only for a short time rather than a long time.
One of the slowest vaccine rollouts in the developed world and a slow start to lockdown on the East Coast saw the virus spread to the outback and Broken Hill go into lockdown.
It needs to be asked why, under a Royal Commission, why did they not lock Sydney down when there was an outbreak in eastern suburbs when the numbers could have been contained?
The Silver City spending the next 2 months under stay-at-home rules, with more than 100 cases recorded in that time. Locals quick to roll up their sleeves as COVID Zero was abandoned, leaving lockdown not because of case numbers, but vaccinations.
Now we know all about how to manage it. Now it's about managing how we come out of it.
All the while, South Aussies were locked out of their own state. Caravan parks turned into refugee camps.
We're all emotional messes. We want to be home. There's no reason that we shouldn't be home.
Despite some close calls with Port Augusta visited by COVID-positive truckies, SA was kept mostly COVID-free, but our region still faced incredible challenges. A 13-year-old boy dying when a skip bin was emptied in Port Lincoln, exposing issues around housing for young people in the city.
Just one of the levels of tragedy of this as to why these 3 children thought they needed to be sleeping in the bin.
While Port Pirie and Port Augusta grappled with a spate of fatal crashes, some claiming multiple lives. Lives looked to be shaken up with a cloud over the Annie Lockwood Hostel and the Whyalla Steelworks, though the future of both now seems secure. But through another challenging year, we still made time for the lighter side. The Rangers rocked at QUORN while it was announced Silverton would host the biggest event ever seen in outback New South Wales.
I think I'm going to have to write a song about that. Monday, Monday.
Port Augusta's cops lost their locks and theatre goers were taken to a whole new world. Travellers in Whyalla not going to a new world, but getting elsewhere through the city's new airport.
It's a shining gateway for Whyalla, and I think that's the most important thing, but it does obviously offer regional services.
But this Christmas, airports are more than buildings. They're the scenes of family reunions as border walls across the country gradually crumble. Australia looking forward, hoping lockdowns and border closures are behind us.
And what a year it's been. Stay with us after the break. We'll hear all the tips for cricket matches this weekend. And Alex Sykes will join us with the weather. Welcome back. It's that time of the week again. Let's hear from our cricket experts with their tips for weekend matches.
Main game for Broken Hill Cricket this week will be Central versus North at the Aylmer Oval. Central been in really good form lately and their bowling attack has been really on top. A lot of options in the Central side. I think this could prove the difference between the two sides. In the other game, West take on South at the Jubilee Oval. South very disappointing last week. West should win this game fairly easy and the Southerners need to find some batting options before they become competitive.
Hello and welcome to round 8 of Port Pirie Cricket. This round starts with Port Germain taking on Props here at Memorial Oval. Both sides have been up and down this season and this could be a good game. I'm going to tip Props. Over at Port Oval we've got Southport taking on WANDEARAH. WANDEARAH found some form lately and is starting to look a bit ominous. I'm going to be tipping WANDEARAH there.
This week in Whyalla Cricket, we see a couple of games have been rescheduled due to the early rain this year. In the first game, we see the grand final rematch between Central Whyalla and North Whyalla. I think it's going to be a tight tussle. I think Scott Collison coming off a Golden Duck's going to be out for revenge. I'm tipping Centrals. In the second game, it's Rupina taking on Westies. Rupina coming off a very strong showing against Centrals is going to be hard to beat, so I'm going to pick them.
Yeah, g'day and welcome to round 7 of Port Augusta Cricket. This is the last round before Christmas. The first game sees QUORN take on Central Stirling in QUORN. This should be a very good match, both are very good teams. I'm going to go for the home advantage and pick QUORN. The other match sees South Augusta take on West Augusta at Etzer. Westies would like to win a match before the break, but unfortunately I can't see them beating South Augusta. So there are my two winners, QUORN and South Augusta.
Welcome to this week's Port Lincoln Cricket Tips. On the back of last week's association matches, Port Lincoln had a fantastic weekend, winning all 6 matches that they played in. This weekend, we had Todd River and Southern Eyre at Dorwood Oval. Should be a really good game of cricket. Southern Eyre, a lot of players playing Henderson Shield, should be too strong and get the job done there. In the next game, Waybacks and Tasmans here at Centenary Oval. This will be a really good game. Going to tip Tasmans with a few ins to get the job done. And on Sunday, we have a make-up game. Todd River and Tasmans out at Dorwood. I think Tasmans will be too strong here and get the job done and have 2 wins on the weekend. Thanks for listening to the Port Lincoln Cricket Tips.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening, everyone. Well, it's the end of the week and the weather really turned it on today, and I can tell you it's heating up over the weekend as well. But first, let's take a closer look at today's conditions. From 3 p.m, Port Augusta was sunny and 25, Port Lincoln was partly cloudy and 20, and Woodnall was sunny and 26 degrees. Looking further out across the region now, Whyalla and Clare were both sunny and 22, Broken Hill was 24, Port Pirie sunny and 25, Kadina was 21, and Cooper Pedy was 28 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, some cloud pushing in from the south but still remaining dry, clear elsewhere under a warm, dry air mass and high pressure system. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots, seas 1 metre, and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. Sunny across the region. Tomorrow, Port Lincoln will be mostly sunny and is set to reach a high of 24, Cleve 29, and Woodnall will get to a high of 34. Whyalla and Kadina both set to reach a high of 28 degrees there, and Port Augusta will get to 32. Port Pirie 31, Clare and Broken Hill are both set to reach a high of 29 degrees. Taking a look on to Sunday now, Woodnall will get to a very hot 40 degrees, Port Lincoln partly cloudy with 31, Port Augusta and Cooper Pedy both to reach 38. A look at next week now, and things will cool down a little. Port Pirie partly cloudy and 27, Whyalla 25. Broken Hill will be sunny and 38 degrees. Similar conditions on Tuesday, Port Augusta 32, mostly sunny in Port Pirie with 30, and Cooper Pedy sunny and 38. And that's all the weather from me for tonight, and indeed for the year. I look forward to seeing you all in 2022. I hope you enjoy a well-deserved break, Ruby. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's our local news this Friday evening and for the year. Thanks for joining us during what has certainly been a rollercoaster 12 months. Have a happy and safe Christmas, and we'll see you again in the new year. Good night.